I was walking home late at night after my shift at the diner. My usual path. Quiet, dimly lit. The kind of route where shadows stretch long and the sound of your own footsteps keeps you company. I was half lost in thought, fingers cold in my jacket pockets, when a hand suddenly gripped my arm. "Keep walking and pretend you're my husband," a woman whispered through clenched teeth. I blinked in confusion, about to ask something, when she shot me a look, one part desperation, one part warning. Her fingers trembled around my wrist. I glanced back instinctively and saw a man across the street, lurking under the amber glow of a flickering lamppost. He was watching us intently, jaw tight, hands buried in his coat. Something about his stance radiated menace. So I did what she asked. I walked, stiff at first, unsure what I was stepping into. But as she tucked her arm into mine and leaned slightly against me, I let my body relax, matching her pace. We didn't speak for a few blocks. Her breathing was shallow, controlled. We passed closed shops, a dark park, and I felt the man's presence vanish somewhere behind us. Finally, when we turned a corner near the apartment complex where I lived, she let go and exhaled a shaky breath. "Thank you," she said, brushing her hair behind her ear. Her voice had softened. "You okay?" I asked, studying her face. She was around my age, maybe a few years older, wearing a navy coat and faded jeans. Her eyes were the kind that told stories, sad, intelligent, cautious. She nodded, then shook her head. "He followed me from the subway. I didn't know what else to do." "You did the right thing." She smiled faintly, teeth biting into her lower lip. "I'm Sophia," she said, extending her hand. I told her my name, and we stood there for a beat too long. Then she laughed nervously. "God, I probably scared the hell out of you." "No," I said. "Just startled. But I'm glad you're safe." That night, I couldn't stop thinking about her. I saw her face when I brushed my teeth, when I lay in bed, when I closed my eyes. She had looked both scared and powerful all at once. And I couldn't forget the warmth of her fingers wrapped around mine. A few days passed, and I saw her again. Coincidentally, so I thought. At the coffee shop near my building. She was sitting alone, looking out the window with her untouched cup. She noticed me, smiled, and waved me over. "You live nearby, right?" "Yeah, that building across the street." We sat together, talked. She told me about her job in publishing, her dog named Baxter, her messy apartment that she was too tired to clean most days. I told her about the late hours at the diner, my failed graphic design dreams, how I was saving up for a course to try again. It became a rhythm. We met often. We talked. We laughed. Sometimes she'd bring me leftovers she accidentally made too much of. One night during a power outage, we sat on the steps of her building with candles and red wine, listening to rain and our own secrets. It wasn't until 6 weeks later that I noticed the ring. She never wore it before, not once. But that day it was there, plain and shining on her finger. I stared at it like it had betrayed me. She saw my eyes lock onto it and didn't flinch. "I didn't lie to you," she said softly. "I just didn't tell you everything." "Married?" I asked, heart stammering. "Yes." "To the guy who was following you?" "No, that was someone else. I never said I wasn't married." "You never said you were." Her eyes filled with something. Remorse, maybe, or guilt. "It's complicated." That's what people say when they don't want to say the truth. I stood to leave, but she stopped me. "Please, just let me explain." And I did. She told me about Chris, her husband, a lawyer, cold, brilliant, emotionally absent. Their marriage was a transaction, she said. A structured life filled with beige furniture and calculated kisses. He doesn't hurt me, she said, but he makes me disappear every day a little more. And me? I asked. What am I? She hesitated. You're the first thing in years that made me feel real. I should have walked away then. Should have said something noble, wise, self-preserving. But I didn't. We kept meeting. Not out of lust, not just. It was more subtle, more dangerous than that. She needed to be seen. I needed to be needed. We created a space between us where the world outside didn't matter, where she wasn't a wife and I wasn't a man stealing someone else's. In that space, we were just us. We kissed for the first time in her apartment on a rainy Wednesday. The lights were dim, her hair smelled like lavender, and her eyes asked permission. I was too weak to deny. That night was slow and silent, filled with sighs and unspoken things. We didn't say, I love you. We didn't say anything that. Might have broken the illusion, but illusions don't last. One morning, I saw Chris. He was outside my diner, clean suit, polished shoes. He walked in, ordered black coffee, and sat at the counter. I froze, spatula in hand, watching him sip like he wasn't a nuclear bomb wrapped in skin. He looked up, and his eyes met mine. Ethan, right? I nodded. She talks about you, he said. Come flat. You're the guy from the street, the one she pretended was her husband. I didn't know what to say. He stood, placed a tip on the counter. She's always chasing ghosts, he said. Don't become one of them. That night, I waited outside her building, but she didn't come home. I texted, called, nothing. Days passed, then weeks. Finally, a letter came. No name, no address. Just a note in her handwriting. Some lives aren't meant to bloom in the open. What we had, it was real. But I can't keep chasing freedom in other people. I have to find it on my own. Thank you for reminding me I'm still alive. That was it. No dramatic goodbye, no final embrace, just silence. Sometimes I still walk past that coffee shop where we first sat. I see the table by the window, still bathed in soft light. And I wonder if she remembers the taste of rain, or how our hands fit, or how two people can be everything and still end up as nothing. I don't hate her. I don't hate myself. But I've learned, when someone grabs your arm in the dark and pulls you into their world, sometimes you save them, and sometimes they drown you too.